is Tubi TV. It's free TV and awesome chefs, great food. I don't know how many times I can just keep saying that. Anyway, I have a fantastic guest today. He was an early viral video creator on YouTube, and he made some blockchain games and did some stuff with some blockchains.
I did some blockchain stuff and some other stuff with some more stuff.
We're gonna figure all that out.
I'm gonna figure out what I've done.
He's a self-improvement fanatic, and he loves taking cold showers, and he's a big meditator. He also has lived in like over 30 countries, and he's currently housing pierogies like it's his job. Ladies and gentlemen, Edward Sturm.
Wow, that was probably my best introduction. Oh man. Thank you for that, Reyshan.
Hey, you're welcome, Edward.
Reyshan, you are just a ray of fucking sunshine.
Oh, fucking thanks so much, bud. You are part of the clouds for me this morning, and so here we are, shining. I like that. Shining bright.
I like that. No, I'm actually having a very interesting Tuesday here. I spent what a crazy story. So I spent pretty much like I got back to Warsaw from Barcelona. I'm from Brooklyn originally, I travel all the time. And I started dating this girl while living in Barcelona. And I went to go live with her for a few days, starting Wednesday. So Wednesday to like Sunday night. And it's a 3-hour flight from Warsaw to Barcelona. And so I get off the flight and I see that she texted me 45 minutes after my flight departed. And she said, "Hey, I'm so excited to see you. But also, I just got really sick a few hours ago. Can you call me?" And so I called her, and it turned out that she had thrown up. She had thrown up like a few hours before she sent that. She was feeling really bad, and she sent it 45 minutes into my flight. And so I'm thinking, like, we don't really know if it's food poisoning or if it's like stomach flu, if it's contagious, and we don't really know. And I'm like, what do I do? Do I get like a temporary place for the night? I actually had another friend in town, and she invited me to stay over at her place. And so I said, I had this other friend in town, and she invited me to stay at her place, so maybe we could just do that, and we'll see how you're feeling the next day. And this person who I'm seeing just really wanted me to come see her, and I understand because I had flown there to stay with her. So I did that.
Sticking with the plan.
Going with the risks. Like, I'm sure it's not contagious stomach flu. It's probably just food poisoning. It usually is.
Fingers crossed.
And what?
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. And yeah, there were. And first day was great. Second day, we went to this like amazing coastal town of like an hour away from Barcelona. This incredible place called Sitges. Walked along the Mediterranean, came back to her place. We watched Edward Scissorhands, and I promptly vomited after that. And I was so sick. It was really funny because she was kind of like crying when I was throwing up because she felt responsible for asking me to come see her. She's like, I should have just let you stay at your friend's. And in between like heaving, I told her I would choose you every time. I really said this. I really said this. And yeah, and I meant it. But I really meant it. But and what's crazy is that the friend who I was gonna stay with, my backup plan, she ended up getting bacterial tonsillitis and had to be hospitalized.
Oh my God!
Yeah. So if I had done that, then I would have gotten bacterial tonsillitis and stomach flu and given bacterial tonsillitis to this person. It would have been a disaster. So I only got one. I didn't get hospitalized. But
that's good.
But I'm here in Warsaw, and I'm still a little bit low energy from that experience a few days ago.
Oh, buddy. Best trip ever.
Yo, it was crazy. It took our relationship to the next level.
Anytime you have to like hold someone's hair as they throw up, and you still can love them even as puke is flowing out of their nose, That's love.
It literally was like that.
That's
I
love.
don't want to gross out your audience. This is a food podcast. Let's change the subject. Let's talk about pierogies. No, I already apologize to your audience.
There's nothing wrong with true love.
I hope I didn't start this podcast off wrong.
So anyway, let's flip right to pierogies.
Yeah, let's flip it. Let's just flip it. Let's flip it 180. Sorry about that.
Maybe I'm a fan of the cold shower. Well, maybe we can rinse off first from rinse off the sickness. And talk about the benefits of actually shocking your body's like fight or flight system with cold water every morning, so nothing ever bothers you ever again.
Cold exposure it's one of the hardest things that you can do, and one of the best things, one of the hardest things, and the benefits are crazy. Like since I started cold exposure, be it cold baths or cold showers, like my hair has gotten thicker, my skin has gotten clearer. I feel like my gums got healthier or something. Like my immune system got better. I mean, it wasn't enough to fight off the stomach flu, but it fights off most things. And I mean, it's so actually, like 1 year ago and 1 month, 13 months ago, I was living in Ukraine, and I lived in Ukraine for 2 years. I left 10 days before the war started. And I started doing cold exposure while living in Ukraine. I was exposed to Wim Hof. He's this big bearded Norwegian dude, and he promotes this special type of breathing that gets like oxygen into your bloodstream. Most people, they don't breathe properly. They breathe into their chests and not their bellies, and that fucks a lot of shit up. Like if you breathe into your belly, when you breathe into your belly, you're clearer thinking, you make better decisions, you have less anxiety, you handle more stress, and you handle better under stress. And the second thing that he promotes religiously is cold exposure. And there's so many benefits to cold exposure, mental benefits in addition to physical benefits. And so I was exposed to this guy. I watched this very famous Vice documentary on Wim Hof. I would totally recommend it on YouTube. It's like 45 minutes.
That's the superhuman guy?
That's the guy. That's the guy. In fact, I have a friend. He's 52 years old. He's from California, but he lives here in Warsaw, and he was living in Kiev at the time. And this guy is crazy. He just got back from climbing a mountain in the freezing cold with Wim Hof. And he's the one who introduced me to Wim Hof. And but he literally just climbed a mountain with Wim Hof. He's 52 years old from California, where it's warm. And he climbed. Before Wim, he was never able to handle the cold. He was the worst person with cold. And he in swimming trunks, no shirt, and just like gloves and boots, he climbed a mountain for several hours in the freezing, the blizzard cold with Wim Hof, and did all this other cold exposure. And so a year ago, I was living in Ukraine. I was doing cold baths in the Ukrainian winter, which was insane.
I have to ask, was that by choice or just out of I had to take a bath?
Well, actually,
I have to ask.
That's it. Well, that's the reason that's actually a surprisingly great question is because I lived in one of the best apartments that I could have lived in when I was in Kiev. I lived in Kiev for 2 years, and this apartment would lose hot water like for a few hours every month. It would just randomly or sometimes a day. One time I lost all water for 3 days. But it's because I lived in the center, and in the center, the infrastructure is a lot older because so many people live there, and it's harder to repair. In order to repair it, they would have to just turn off things for a long, long time to repair it. And since they're unwilling to do that, It just gets
stays
old and breaks all the
stays
time.
in disrepair.
Yeah. So in fact, if I was living in a neighborhood that's not in the direct center of Kiev, it would have been a lot more reliable, funny enough. And but I wanted to be where
so
the action
old,
is.
like even like ancient.
Yeah. People don't really know. Yeah. Kiev is very old. Yeah. And but that apartment lost water all the time. And but no, I was just doing the cold exposure because I thought it was interesting. I liked how like hardcore it was. And it's scary. It's actually scary. Like it's so funny because you look at this tub of like cold water in front of you, and it shouldn't be scary. It's just a bathtub filled with water. Yeah, like what the hell? But you know that you need to like sit in that for 3 minutes, and that shit is scary, man. And yeah.
I mean, how cold? Are we talking just the tap cold, or are we adding some ice just to like fridge it off?
Well, it was the Ukrainian
it's Kiev,
winter.
So it's already cold as fuck.
Yeah, so it was, I think it was like almost as cold as it can be without freezing, because it was in the winter, and it was just all tap cold. And so, yeah, I like
it's that initial shock that we have to get over when we do it, though, right? Like
it's so
that initial blast of almost hyperventilate, calm yourself, don't hyperventilate, just breathe normally, breathe deep. Calm, and then let the water flow over you, right?
Yeah, and it's the same thing with the breathing technique, because this breathing technique, so the way that the breathing technique works is that you do like 30, they're controlled hyperventilations. It's controlled hyperventilating. And then you have to hold your breath for a set period of time. First, it's 60 seconds, then it's a minute 30. I've gotten myself up to 3 minutes of holding my breath.
Nice. I can do a solid 2, just El Natural. But
yeah, okay. Wow.
I don't know why. I've smoked for 25 years. I'm fucking vaping right now, but
you can hold your breath for.
I can hold my breath for 2 minutes, like out of the water.
Well, but this breath hold requires you
not in cold water.
But this is a bit different, because when people hold their breath, typically they breathe in and then they hold their breath in. They go. And then they hold it, but this is actually you breathe out after these hypervent. You breathe out after these hyperventilations, after hyperventilating. So you go, and then you hold that,
and then you hold that.
Yeah, and then you hold that for like 3 minutes. And
shut the what?
Yeah.
How the hell?
And it's the same thing as tolerating the cold exposure, which is you just need to surrender your body to the cold, because the thing is you get into that cold tub or that cold shower, and all you want to do is jump out. But if you just relax your muscles, and your mind can control your muscles and just relax everything. And if you can relax your muscles, very quickly you'll find that the cold becomes tolerable, and then you stop noticing it. And it's the same with the breath hold. If you relax all of your muscles and all the tension in your body, you can hold it for 3 minutes. You can hold it for more. And they teach you the same thing, and I think they've made me a lot better at dealing with stress and anxiety, and just a generally like happy person. But I've also been meditating every day for 12 or 13 years, so I don't know. Maybe that helps.
Yeah, I have to meditate and like walk. Like if I can't sit and meditate, I just fall asleep.
Really?
Just like,
sometimes
napping. Started out meditating, ended dreaming, woke up refreshed.
Sometimes, no, I'm not going to lie. If I meditate in the evenings, I fall asleep. Yeah. If I try to do it in the evenings, I fall asleep.
I walk the dogs in the woods, and that's just walking through the woods. That's my...
What is it like where you live?
That's my meditation. Savannah, generally super temperate, really hot and humid in the summertime. A little bit of winter, not a whole lot, nothing to write home about. It gets like 30 at night on occasion. Not well.
Damn. Aren't there incredible golf courses? Like I used to watch the PGA. Yeah.
Yeah, we got Hilton Head right across the border there, and PGA, land of golf carts, referred to it as, and then we also have Tybee Island on the other side, which is Redneck Riviera. So we got whichever you like. If you want to smoke inside bars still, you can go to Tybee. If you want to play around the golf at the majors, you can go over to Hilton Head.
You can smoke. You could smoke at bars in Warsaw, but you can't smoke at bars in Brooklyn, where I'm from, anymore.
Yeah,
or in New York. Yeah, that was outlawed a long time ago.
Almost nowhere in America can you still smoke inside. Maybe Vegas.
Really?
Can you still smoke in Vegas? I don't know. I haven't been to Vegas.
I don't know. But you can smoke you can smoke in bars in Savannah.
Not in Savannah. Tybee. Tybee specifically. Okay. It's only the very tiny little island.
Wow.
They're like, we don't fucking care.
Wow.
It's their own little world, man.
What's your tattoo on your wrist?
It's a Celtic rune symbol for fire.
Go.
And then I think that's like completion or finishing or, the end of the perpetual circle of life. I don't know, something to that effect. I'm not 100% sure. It was after a date. She got like God is love on her arm, and I had one of these, but I just had never done it, and so she was like, "Let's go to the tattoo shop." So we went to the tattoo shop, and hey,
that's pretty sweet.
They don't go away.
They don't go away. No. Have you tried like cold exposure or anything crazy like that?
I mean, I have on occasion, just for the reason of stress, right? Just to like be able to like walk through the rest of the world. If you can deal with, that amount of like cold and stress that your body's just naturally creating in that moment, then as you're out and about in the world, nothing really bothers you that much, because nothing's as intense as just focusing your body and control over your own physiology in that moment. It's crazy. It sucks in the moment. Yeah. But overreachingly, I don't do it all the time, but on occasion, when I'm in the shower after I'm done, I'll turn it down just to cold, just to like, maybe not 3 minutes, but like just a minute of just like get it, get a nice in. Even that, like, especially if you're not used to it, it's really hard. And even when you are used to it, it's really hard. My favorite thing to do was back when I lived where there was a pool, when it was still colder and the water was still cold, is to go for a jog and get the body temperature way up before jumping into the cold water, because that eliminates that initial shock so much. Yeah. It actually feels good, as opposed to like, oh my God, I'm gonna freeze to death real quick.
Yeah, it is kind of like cheating, but I do it too. I don't care. And
it just makes it more enjoyable.
It makes it more enjoyable. Like, yeah.
And you come out of it like a badass. Like that was nothing. Like, oh yeah, that was great. I'm cooled off. Yeah. Cooled off. Yeah. I did the thing. That was easy.
If it's like the total cold, I mean, it's crazy, because when you do it and it's total cold, your body, it's not that it feels numb, but it just doesn't, you don't notice that you're cold. You don't feel temperature anymore. And like, that's what it's like when it's as ice, almost ice cold. And it's something else.
It's all up here.
Yeah. I actually have a funny story. I love funny stories. This was 13 months ago in Kiev, and I was dating this girl. And I was doing these cold baths every morning in Kiev in the winter, and they were really hard. Like, I'm not going to say like, I'm this tough man and these things are really easy. No. They were very, very difficult. And so one of the ways that I would do them at like 8 or 9 a.m. And one of the ways I would prepare is I would do like a few squats, but I also I like, how like sumo wrestlers at the beginning of the match, they'll like hit their bodies with their hands and stuff. I did that to myself, and I'm not like a masochist or anything, but I like lightly hit my back with a belt, because I wanted to like numb. I just wanted to like numb my body a little bit going into it. For whatever reason, it made it easy. And I wasn't doing it so hard that I would scar myself, but I was doing it hard enough that it left some marks that went away by the next day. However, On one of those days where the marks had not gone away, I had this girl that I was seeing come over, and she saw these marks on my back, and she thought I was cheating on her, and she started just beating up on me and yelling at me.
You're like, no, it's self-inflicted, I swear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Penance.
Yeah. It's not like a religious. I know it totally has like a religious connotation. It's look, the cold baths in the Ukrainian winter are just so hard.
I can only imagine.
But yeah, so she thought I was cheating on her. It was kind of. It was kind of funny.
So then you had to demonstrate, be like, look, see, my belt, my hands.
Yeah, actually, that's what I did.
Forensic this is the line that it makes when I hit myself, see?
Yeah, that's actually what happened. I had to do it. I'm remembering. I had to like do it, and then she was like, oh, okay, I see. Okay, you're good. And I'm like, not even a sorry. Yeah. But we broke up, so it's okay.
Yeah, can't win them all.
Can't win them all. It's,
Anyway, you're in the world hub of pierogi currently in your travels.
Yeah. Wait, I want to hear about your background. So I'll tell you. I can talk nonstop about food. What's your background with food?
So basically, I worked in the service industry for 25 years. Server, busser, manager. I was a prep cook for a little bit, but for the most part, I've never actually been a chef. I've just been around a lot of chefs, and I cook at home.
And you love to cook.
I have a lot of cookbooks. I'm forced to cook, but yeah, I mean, I do like to cook. I like to cook when it's fun to cook, but I hate to cook when you have to cook. You know what I mean? Which is why I would never be a chef.
Actually, one of my best friends, he taught me to cook. I'm a pretty good cook, and he's my neighbor and best friend. And he went to be a sous chef. I don't know, it was like a line chef or a sous chef. I don't remember, but it was at one of the best restaurants in New York City. And he just hated it because it was exactly what you said. He loves to cook when he doesn't have to cook. Mm-hmm. When it feels like work, it ruins his passion, and he didn't want to do that.
Yeah, that's so true. And in those restaurants, right, you don't have any creativity. You're literally just one little cog in the machine making the dish, right? So everyone has, even as a sous chef, you have like one little job to make that one dish, right? And there's 15 other people doing the other parts. And
that was it, and it wasn't for him at all. It's funny too, because people just assume, oh, you love to cook, you should be a chef. And that's totally not how it works.
No, the chef's job is actually like the chef's job. Really, at the end of the day, once you are that chef, you're not even really cooking anymore. You're taking care of all the business aspects of the restaurant, right? And making sure that your dishes that you did create whenever you made them are being prepared to your standard.
I guess, yeah, the fun part of being like a professional chef is coming up with the menu. Mm-hmm. But that's like such a small part of the job.
Yep.
And so often, I would bet a restaurant wins because of the menu. Instead, it wins because of the execution. It wins because of how well these, like, I think a lot of people can invent like a great dish, but very few people can coach an entire team to make that dish and deliver it to the customer while keeping a place clean and tidy and up to standards. Is it the FDA who monitors, or I don't know who monitors restaurants?
No, it's just your local health departments.
Yeah, so the health department, and then also market it and brand it. There's so much that goes into it.
Keep the customers happy. Keep the marketing, just getting people in the door, and then maintaining that they come back because you nail it every time.
When people say, "Oh, like you love cooking," because I used to hear that before I knew what I was kind of doing in life, and people were like, "You love to cook, you should be a chef," and it's just such bad advice, because you like, if you're actually a chef, you're not actually a chef, and and if you are actually a chef, then you just do the same thing and it sucks.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, so like for my TV show, I find chef owned restaurants, right? So they are not corporate restaurants. They're not they're not branches. They don't have more than one restaurant for the most part. And they are the heart and soul. They are in there cooking every day, right? And without them, the restaurants wouldn't be open.
Right.
And for the most part,
everything.
And for the most part, those restaurants
teamwork make the dream work.
Yeah.
You ever tell them that?
Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work. there's no I in team. But and in those cases, they tend to be more locally sourced, right? And so just community wise and menu changing wise, because it's not, a multifaceted restaurant. It's just one little restaurant where the menu does change seasonally at least, or sometimes every day, right? Because they don't know what they're going to be getting from the farms that week, or so they get to be creative. They get to perpetually be creative, and they create that environment for themselves by starting their own restaurant. Like, this is just mine. I am going to be creative. I'm not going to have to make the same thing every day. And
that's amazing.
That's I think the dream of an actual, chef is just who gets to live their passion, and it's still fun because they are allowed to create that reality for themselves of keeping. So
how does it work? They go down to, like, is there like a big market that they go down to and they see what's like fresh for the day, and then they come up with the menu right there, or what?
I mean, I think that varies city to city, right? But generally speaking, you would find your local farmers, purveyors, as opposed to going to Cisco, right? So you'd contact them, see what they have, and you'd pretty much go to the farm, not a farmer's market, but just direct contact with, your local, dairy farmer, your local chicken provider, get your eggs from, a local guy, and get as much as you can just from all over your area. Right. And you just create relationships with those people, and that's what you serve. And everything else you probably get from Cisco, but you do the best you can.
Right. You do. Right. So, but you said it's a different, how often is the menu changed?
I mean, it depends on the restaurant. There's places I've been that literally change their menu pretty much every day. Right. And so they'll just whatever's they have are still around the restaurant. You go around, you figure out what you're going to make.
Places, you have restaurants, and they do.
No, I don't have any restaurants.
Oh, I thought. Okay,
the restaurants I've been to on the TV on my show. Right?
Okay, I understand.
Or just generally speaking, I look for farm to table restaurants first for the most part, because they're generally more just chef owned, right? So smaller community based restaurants. Local favorites. So how far in advance are chefs coming up with the menu at these places? I mean, generally speaking, most people will do just like a seasonal menu, right? So you'll change your menu every season based on what's locally available during those seasons, right? Which makes it easier. But then, you got those crazy motherfuckers just like, I'm gonna change my menu every day.
That is super crazy.
And you might have the same dish, throughout the week on there, right? But generally speaking, it's still ebbing and flowing and changing and morphing as time goes.
What's your favorite place? Like, is there a favorite place in the world for you in terms of food?
Just the type of food,
or just like a favorite? Yeah, actually, I guess it would be like, or just like a city. I'll tell you, like Kiev, because like Ukraine had a lot of great agriculture. Maybe it still has, and when I was there, it had a lot of great agriculture. I had such incredible fresh food, and it was one of my favorite places for restaurants, for cafes, for farmers markets. I always used to go down to the babushka market, to the grandma markets, and buy what these grandmas literally grew in their yards. And it was so fresh. And I would get the most incredible juicy tomatoes and peaches and cucumbers and pumpkins and everything. And
you're the world traveler. You let me know. What is food like around the rest of the world? Is it fresher than you would find in America, generally speaking?
Oh my God.
I mean, there's not like Applebee's running around Russia, right? So
oh my God. Like, and so my favorite farmers market is in Bucharest, Romania. It's this place called Obor Market. And it's a warehouse, a three level massive warehouse. It's basically like the size of like 2 warehouses combined. Maybe 1.5. And it's 3 levels. And the first level is just produce. The second level is meat and fish and dairy. And the third level is like it's just hardware and home stuff. And then this
like
big
Walmart,
warehouse,
but local.
But with like a lot of grandmas and but then it's surrounded by all these bazaars. It's literally encased in bazaars, and you'll have more farmers markets with bazaars attached to them, and you go through these like tight alleys that you would see in a movie of different goods hanging on top of you, and I love that. Like I grew up in literally in New York City. You do not get that in New York City. As far as I know, you don't really get that in America. You don't get bazaars in America. I've traveled a decent amount in America as well. Never seen a bazaar.
Nope.
And but in Europe, especially in Eastern Europe, where I spent a lot of time, you get a lot of bazaars. And the bazaars are where it's at. And the farmers markets are where it's at. And so, God, like the eggs that I have in my fridge, oh man, these yolks are so orange. They taste so good and so fresh. Like, oh, dude, there's this place here in Warsaw that I go, and it's this huge fat man. This guy is fat. I mean, he's fat. And he has these chickens on a rotisserie spit just spinning. And there must be like, I don't know, like 10 or 12 or 15 different spits, all with like each chicken on them, like a big chicken on these things spinning. And when I first, I was a bit afraid to go there because it's like this fat guy, like, and it's hot, and I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, but
like,
that man knows how to eat, so it's probably going to be
exactly.
good.
So, and there was a line in front of it, but I was still kind of like nervous. And, but I said, fuck it. Like I get food poisoning. And actually, like I haven't had food, despite traveling so much, I haven't had food poisoning. Last time I had food poisoning was 2017 in New York City from an upscale place in the East Village. Like that was the West Village.
Figure.
That was, it was literally, I bought shrimp at an upscale Korean place in the West Village at the end of 2017. That was the last time I had food poisoning. I never got food poisoning from eating at these like hole-in-the-wall places in Serbia and Bulgaria and in Kiev and Estonia or Berlin, like whatever. It was in New York City, which is one of the, I think it was recently the number one most expensive place in the world. Now it's like number 2. But anyway, so these rotisserie chickens, man. So I was like a bit nervous. And I'm like, whatever, like this place is social proof. It has this crazy line. Like I'm gonna wait in line. I'm gonna get one of these chickens. And I asked for the entire chicken. You get this big chicken. It's in like a foil bag. It's surrounded in another plastic bag. And man, when I got home and I tasted that for the first time, it's like a staple of my diet because it's like so succulent and juicy and just flavor. It's everything that you want from a rotisserie. It's seasoned perfectly. I don't know if they brine the entire chickens or what they do. It's like, it's seasoned. Oh God.
Just dreaming about it.
Dude, and I have it with these pickled goods that I buy from the grandmas, from the Polish grandmas. Like man, the pickles that I have, the sauerkraut in my fridge, you can only imagine. And the pierogies. The pierogies. There's this grandmother here that I go to. I go to her like every week. She knows my face. I've like traveled in and out of Warsaw for years now, and she's seen me age. She knows my face, and I go to her and I get these pierogies, man. And like it's just like your eyes light up when you have these things. You see God. Like
that's how good pierogies are in the homeland.
People don't know that like pierogies in the homeland, and how so they're pre-made, and you can either boil or fry them. I boil them. It takes like 2 minutes of boiling because they're pre-made. And Jesus, like it's
so good.
It's so good.
Are we putting different things in pierogies, or is it always just sauerkraut?
Oh yeah. No.
What all can we put in pierogies?
Duck, meat, squash, mushrooms, onions, rhubarb,
Rhubarb.
Yeah, rhubarb. There's some really good like rhubarb and spinach ones that I get. I mean, you can put all sorts of stuff.
You can
in
put
pierogies.
anything. It's basically just a hot pocket, but
it basically is. I mean, the thing about pierogies is they're really like a staple in Eastern Europe. In Ukraine, they're called vareniki, and I think they have a different name in Russia, and I'm sure they exist in the Balkans. But yeah, I mean, and I don't know. In Italy, it's ravioli. So
there's a version.
I mean, it's
everywhere.
a bit different. It's a bit different. Yeah, China has dumplings. Like so.
But everybody loves fried chicken or rotisserie chicken. Wait,
not vegans.
Not the vegans, but country-wise, everyone has a version,
true.
right?
Yeah,
it's our universal language. Is like the dough stuffed and
also
chicken
I'll
over
say
a fire.
the kebab. I like saying kebab.
That's fun.
It's more fun to say it that way, kebab.
Let's go get some kebabs. That might be a little of your New York coming out there.
I think that's what it is. So I'm going to say that. Yeah, the kebab out here. It's like,
the kebabs out here are fantastic. I'm telling you,
they are. They're fantastic. Yeah. But it's. I had some today, and I mean, it's so much better in this part of the world than it is in New York City. Surprisingly.
Oh, not surprised.
You're not surprised. I mean, I don't know. I love, like, New York is my home. I love New York. I'm not going to say it's overrated. I'm not going to diss my home. I'm not going to say that. You didn't hear me say that.
No,
so I didn't.
I heard you say that you weren't going to say that. That's what I heard.
So I didn't say it. Yeah, but I would totally like. A lot of people are afraid to travel to like places like the Balkans and or just any place in like Eastern Europe. A lot of people get offended for me calling Poland Eastern Europe, but like it's in the east of Europe. I don't know. So
what inspired you to like want to go all these places, like, and just travel Eastern Europe?
I had to.
What started the whole thing?
Americans can only spend 90 out of 180 days in what's called the Schengen area. Schengen area is like the most popular countries in Europe. So those are countries like Spain and France and Italy and Germany, all these places. And
the main EU.
Yeah, the main EU. And so I had spent my 90 days when I first started traveling 4 years ago. And I'm like, okay, I can go back to New York or I can keep traveling. And I had a friend that had spent a few years living. It was this old guy, the guy who went up the mountain with Wim. He had spent some time living in Ukraine. He actually became famous in Ukraine by accident. And so he had spent time living there. How he became famous is he made this like music video. He found this guy. He learned Russian, which they speak in Ukraine, and he made, or broken Russian at the time. Now it's pretty good, and because he went and lived in Russia after that. But so he made this music video, and he shot it in Kiev for fun because he's a filmmaker. And then he paid some guy to buy like Facebook ads for the music video on YouTube, and it ended up blowing up. And it was being played at cafes and restaurants. And it was this California dude singing about Kiev in Russian. And and so he was getting recognized, and people were taking pictures of him when he walked down the street. And he didn't like being famous. He didn't like being so recognized. So he left. So that's why he left Kiev and went to Russia. And but anyway, so he's like, yeah, you should go to Kiev. It's a great place. And
And so you did.
And so I did. And I was a bit afraid when I got there the first time, and I ended up just loving it like right away. And it's the same rule in Ukraine, 90 days out of 180 days. So then I had to leave. I had to go to more places. And the reason I ended up spending 2 years in Kiev is because that's where I was. I actually had a flight home in April of 2020. COVID happened. My flight was canceled. I had to choose between like New York for lockdown or Kiev for lockdown. I chose Kiev.
Probably the better choice.
I think it was the better choice. And so that stay was like 2 years. And then I just wanted to travel more. I wanted to see the Balkans. I went to places in the Balkans. And I mean, I don't know. I don't only spend time in Eastern Europe. Like, I was just in Italy for a bit over a month, in Barcelona for 2 months, and yeah.
Nice. How do you manage to afford just to travel around? Let's tap that real quick on our way out.
I mean, sure. Well, I mean, I'm probably one of the best search engine optimizers in the world. I've been doing it for a long time. I've done it for the biggest companies like Microsoft and Time Inc. And I've done it for a lot of small SMBs, small to medium-sized businesses, and a lot of startups. And I have a bunch of startups of my own. Now I've started going viral on TikTok, actually.
Bravo.
I'm one of the first, like you said, one of the first viral video creators on YouTube. And I'm like, I should try TikTok. So I tried it, and I've had like several videos get over, I think I had 3 videos get over 1 million. I had one get 2 million, one get 1.7 million, and I think the other one got 1.7 or 1.5
talking
million.
about SEO?
I'm talking about tech stuff, technology stuff. Yeah. And actually I'm doing a daily challenge now for the next week where I make 4 TikToks a day. I haven't made any of them today, and it's already like 7 p.m. 7 p.m. here, and and I wake up at 6 a.m. I wake up at 6 a.m. So I don't know. It's gonna be some crazy content production, but
it's all right. Don't beat yourself too much. You're still recovering from your trip.
Right? Yeah, so, but I mean, I have fun with it. I have fun with it. But so anyway, that's what I do. I do this tech and SEO and marketing stuff. I think I'm one of the best growth marketers, I guess, that there is, and it's like my passion. It's what I really like to do. But
just like seeing other companies succeed once you touch them.
I like getting eyeballs on the things that I'm responsible for. Mm-hmm. Like it's a cool feeling to see. It's a cool feeling when someone's talking about something. Like, okay, when I was going viral on YouTube, people would talk about my videos and they wouldn't know I'm there, and I'd be like, "That's my video." I used to be a club promoter in New York City, and there was the most popular place in New York City. This place called One Oak. It's actually probably the most exclusive club in the United States at the time, because it was the most exclusive club in New York, and it was therefore probably the most exclusive club in the United States, maybe the world. I don't know.
At the time.
And so this was before I was working at clubs, and I was just trying to go to One Oak, and I got in sometimes, but the door guy, most of the time he would look at me and just shake his head. I'd walk away with my tail in between my legs. And then once I had my first viral video on YouTube, he's like, "Where do I know you from?" I walked up, he goes, "Where do I know you from?"
YouTube.
Yeah, and then I went whatever I wanted after that, and I like people seeing my stuff. But anyway, how do I afford this?
Well, that's Eastern Europe, afford it.
Well,
it's cheap.
I mean, Eastern Europe's it's a lot less expensive than New York, where I'm from. It's a lot less expensive than a lot of cities in the United States, and the quality of life is very high.
Nice. Yeah, most people wouldn't think, right? But yeah, just. I mean, does it seem like a small town, even though it's like a huge city? Just like the feel of the people and the
Warsaw? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
No, it's like I never see the same people.
Ever.
Unless I go so malls are very popular in Europe. They're not all throughout Europe. They're not popular in the United States anymore, but they're very popular in Europe. If I go to the mall every day, maybe I'll see the same people occasionally.
It's just the employees.
No, I mean it's a thing for everyone to hang out at the major malls in a city.
Oh man, so it's the 90s. It's still the 90s in Warsaw.
It's especially like this in Eastern Europe. But I guess I never really went to the mall when I was in Barcelona or Italy. But in Germany, I would go to the mall because I lived next to Alexanderplatz, which has the biggest mall in Germany, I think, or one of them. And I would go to that mall, and it was packed, and it was active, and it was like the 90s, yeah. So malls are huge in Europe. and people
So
hang out
funny.
at the mall. So you will see the same people.
But Warsaw mall rats, everyone.
But anyway, no, it feels like a big city. The skies are usually gray. Today was really blue. Today was a beautiful day. I was out at some like really nice hotel lobby cafe working from my laptop. It was wonderful.
Nice.
Yeah. So I adore these cities.
Beautiful.
I guess it's not for everyone, but I don't think it's hard. I don't know. I think actually it's great. I think most people, 9 out of 10 people, maybe more, will have a fantastic experience.
Well, now I need to go to Warsaw and Kiev.
Yeah, well, who knows when Kiev will be possible. I hope soon.
Or still there.
Warsaw, I would check out for sure. Come hit me up. I'm here for a bit. I mean,
Nice. Two questions.
Yeah, please.
What? Go ahead. What?
Oh, I was gonna ask you so that's my food experiences. Like, what's your favorite place for food?
I mean, home. Honestly,
Yeah.
anything you want, you can have, right? It's, all you got to do is go to the store, come home and make it. And it's probably going to be
home. Yeah, that's
home,
true.
home,
Yeah.
home.
Yeah, you're home. You're where you live. Yeah.
Home.
That's my favorite place. That's my favorite place.
Right? Okay. I would be silly not to ask. Do you have any just simple tips and tricks for SEO for just TikTokers out there today? What should they do to improve their TikToks?
I mean, this is for anyone making content, but it's especially the case on TikTok. Put 90% of your effort in a video into the hook. And the hook is what happens in the first 3 seconds of your video to capture the rest of the attention throughout the video. If the hook is good enough, people will sit through a mediocre video and maybe even share it. If like a mediocre executed video, and maybe even share it if the hook is good enough. The hook is everything. So the hook is, it's not just like how the video looks or what's happening. It's like what you say.
You just got to get them that first 3 seconds, because that first 3 seconds is when you're going to swipe up if you're not interested, right?
That's exactly it. And it's pretty crazy because I was making TikToks every day for, I guess I'm up to 120 days straight now of making TikToks. I like to just not miss days. Thank you. And so the first 85 days, I think, I didn't really know about how important hooks were. And I had gotten up to 1,500 followers. And then within the next period, I got up to 18,000 just from hooks.
Adding your hook.
Yeah, and my growth, it's kind of funny because it's like, pow, 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 pow.
I solved the 3 second rule.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
To the moon.
When I discovered hook. Yeah. That's to the moon. Yeah. And so that's the number one thing is it's hooks. And it's hooks for everything. If you're writing a post on LinkedIn, if you're writing a Twitter thread, I mean, I'm sure it's probably the case if you're making a TV show.
You gotta get them at the opener.
It's the movies too. That's, that's why a lot of movies open with a very exciting scene. And,
lock you in.
Yeah, so it's a hook. And with SEO, the best tip that I can give with SEO, the best tip is if you have a website, connect it to register it on Google Search Console. This is free. It's from Google. This is basically so you can submit all your content on your site to Google's index. If you don't get a lot of traffic, they don't even know it exists. So just register your site on Google Search Console and connect your site, submit your URLs. It's very easy to do. And if you have a sitemap, then submit your sitemap as well. If you don't generate one, sitemaps are very useful. Mm-hmm. It just tells Google it tells Google the location
of all your content.
Yes, of all your content on your site. It just says, these are all the URLs that I have on my site. This is all the content that I have. Please crawl it. Please add it to your index.
If you didn't find it, I'm going to let you know it's there.
Yes, and that's exactly what it is. And yeah, that's the number one. Google Search Console is my number one recommendation. I'm literally like, this was years ago, and it was a friend's business. So I did this for him for free, and he was like, my site's not ranking on Google. And I'm like, all right, let me see what I can do. And I'm like, okay, it's not connected to Google Search Console. And literally it was ranking in 5 minutes on the front page. Yeah. And he's like, you're a magician. And I'm like, no, but for a lot of people,
you just got to know. If you don't know, you don't know, you know?
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
That's it.
Last question. What are you having for dinner tonight? And please tell me it's pierogies.
Oh, dude, I wish it was. No, but I read that throwing up lowers your potassium. And so I made this crazy stew yesterday. Oh yeah, let me tell you what it was. Oh,
tell me the stew.
Crazy stew. Yeah.
Crazy stew. Edward's crazy stew.
I don't really use recipes. And I kind of do the same thing like that we described earlier. I go to the farmer's market, I see what's fresh, I see what I want to get, and I buy it, and then I see what I can do with it. I don't even know what I'll be able to do with it. And
you ever use ChatGPT just to ask it? Put in your ingredients and have it tell you what to make.
Oh, I could. I haven't tried that, but that's great. That's really cool.
Oh yeah, it's fun. I love ChatGPT. Yeah. It's just a great toy.
I love ChatGPT. I love it. I make so many videos about AI and like what it will do to Google. Like the thing about ChatGPT and conversational AI is it's wrong actually like 60% of the time, like an astoundingly wrong amount, and people really trust it. So I don't use ChatGPT for like questions about health or finance or anything important anymore because it's so wrong. It doesn't even and it doesn't
make stuff up too, right? It just makes up things that don't even exist.
And the problem is it says it in such an authoritative way that like you just don't know. So
I asked it for like a list of cookbooks and like authors of the past or something, and like 3 of them were real. And like 2 of them were just like, it just made it up. Like it was just like, I just designed this cookbook out of the ether that you might be interested in.
That's crazy. It just made up cookbook title.
And with authors and everything, like publishing dates.
That's hilarious. Yeah, but I mean, that's what it's supposed to do. It's designed to just autocomplete. Like it's designed to write fiction basically. And now it has this like corpus of data, and it's like, okay, use this corpus of data, make it as accurate as you can, and like but so anyway, yeah, it's wrong a lot, but I'm sure for giving it ingredients, it would come up with some interesting things. But give it a go. Let me know. Yeah, I'll try that. But this stew, this is what I'm gonna have.
Okay.
So so I wanted to get high potassium foods. So it's Brussels sprouts. It's lima beans, it's cauliflower, sauerkraut. There's so many things in here. Yeah, it's potatoes. Potatoes are also high in potassium. Then Spanish paprika, turmeric. There's a lot of Spanish paprika and turmeric. Soy sauce. Olive oil. I have like really fresh Greek olive oil behind me, and apple cider vinegar. And I love adding apple cider vinegar to soups and stews. Like people don't understand how much it deepens the flavor. It's like
that is a very Eastern European stew if I've ever heard one.
Is it? Is it really?
I mean, I think you just like threw a bunch of stuff into a pot, but
yes, I did. That's why it's so fun because it's like when you're a little kid and you make like potions and stuff, and that's what it's like. And it's like that's what it feels. But it was great, and I have a ton in my fridge, and I'm excited to heat it up.
Oh hell yeah!
Steaming hot.
I had a super soup one time. I had a friend who was just sick, and she was sick for like a week and a half, and she just wasn't getting better. And so I made a super soup that I called it. And God, I don't know if I can remember everything that was in it, but there was a lot of turmeric, coconut milk, a lot of kale,
cool.
a shit ton of kale, carrots, it's just as many superfoods as I could pack into it.
Yeah.
It's been probably 8 years, but maybe green beans, I think chicken. Oh man, there was so much. I can't even remember, but like just I just literally took all the healthiest things I could think of and I just dumped them in the pot. Right. And it was delicious. It tasted kind of like a curry.
Coconut milk. So
like a chicken curry soup.
At what point did you add the coconut milk, and how long did you let the soup cook for?
It cooked for a while. I didn't add the coconut milk till later.
Okay.
Just to kind of thicken it up and then flavor it in, like kind of at the end.
Okay. And so when you added the coconut milk, did you bring it back up to a boil, or did you just let?
No, I think I just let it simmer. And it probably sat there for maybe 15 minutes or something, and then we ate it.
Only? Oh, wow. So you added the coconut milk, you brought it back up to a simmer, and then you let it simmer for 15 minutes.
Yeah, we ate it.
Wow. All right, so I just asked this to this girlfriend who I mentioned earlier. Not the one who beat me, the one who wants me now. And because I want to start making chicken soup, and she's a great cook, so I asked her, but I want your opinion. And so what I'm thinking of doing is I want to buy a bunch of bone-in chicken thighs and just put them in a big pot with some root vegetables and water and maybe some existing stock and stuff. But my question is, I'll bring it up to a boil originally to kill the bacteria. But like, how long do I need to let it boil for if I'm going to just let it simmer for like 4 hours or 5?
You got a crock pot?
I don't have a crock pot in this Airbnb. I just have a big steel.
I mean, bring it up to a boil and then just bring it down to low and leave it there for 4 hours.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do. But I wasn't sure if that would be enough to kill the bacteria that's inside of that's deep inside. Oh no,
eventually your thighs are just going to fall apart. And so you're going to need to fish. Exactly. You're going to need to fish the bones out.
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't choke yourself. But over time, that's all just gonna.
Even though it's at a simmer, it'll kill.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So I can just bring it up to a boil for like a minute.
You're still boiling. You're just on a really low simmer boil, right? That with just probably I don't know, like 165 degrees or something like that.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's probably 165.
And just over time, I mean, it's all cooked out. Yeah. Like in a crock pot, even at high, that's not really. If you think about it, it's not that high of a temperature. And you just dump it all in there. You walk away for 6 hours. You come back, it's done.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to start doing this.
Just make sure you fish out all those bones, because
yeah, for sure.
And the skins, you might not want to leave the skins on if you're going to just eat it like a soup too, because they'll just get rubbery and like weird in there.
Will they?
Oh yeah, super weird.
Maybe I should just get breast then.
You won't have as much like fat and flavor, right? Because the thighs are all that fat.
That's true.
Fat and flavor.
That's true.
But just just get rid of this, and the bones are gonna create a stock at the same time, right? So you're basically making a chicken stock all at the same time that you're.
I gotta do bone in. One of my pet peeves with people is people who throw away the bones. I wish I could hang that in people's houses. Like, don't save your bones.
Save your bones. You can make broth later.
It's like the easiest thing. I make stocks all the time, so often. And maybe there was a point when I got to Warsaw, because I was getting these rotisserie chickens all the time, and I was saving the bones, and I was making a stock once a week.
Yeah, my buddy's real big on that. He's just like, no, save me the bones. Save me the bones.
Yeah, and then I just drink it. I literally I will heat it up in the microwave or in like a Turkish coffee mug on the stove, and I'll just drink it. And
that's really good for you. Yeah. Particularly if your girlfriend happens to get you exceptionally sick on the trip.
Yes. Oh man, that's why I'm exceptionally excited to have this stock in my fridge behind, or to have this soup in my fridge behind me. But save the bones, and I love making stocks. But yeah, I'm excited now. Now you got me excited to make this soup. I can't wait to finish this Frankenstein Brussels sprout concoction.
I'm excited for you. Put it on TikTok and we'll check it out. Speaking of which, where can we find you?
Yeah. So I'm on TikTok at build. You can just search build in public, and
Build in
I come
public.
up. My user comes up. I'm replicating the Steve Jobs post. I think it's a kind of a cool picture. I'm on Twitter at show progress, one word, show progress, because I show how much money my startups are making. And like there's a new startup we're almost at 100 customers for that new startup, which I think is kind of exciting.
Oh, cool.
And so show progress on Twitter, build in public on TikTok, and then my site, edwardsturm.com. I put a lot of work into that website. So please check out that website. I'm starting a newsletter about like marketing and just like the coolest marketing hacks and tricks and shortcuts that I'm discovering that I'm sharing with people.
I'm going to be following you because I love marketing tips and tricks.
Hell yeah. Thank you, Reyshan. And I'll
thank you,
I'll
Edward.
follow you. I'll follow you everywhere.
Let's do it. I will follow you.
Everywhere, yeah.
Follow you to where the pierogies are.
I hope you get to have some great pierogies.
I do too.
Pierogies sauteed in butter. Pierogies sauteed in butter with caramelized onions and caramelized apples. Fuck, man.
God damn it. Now I gotta go find a Polish woman to make me some pierogies.
With some like thick salt on that shit. Come on.
All right, I'm hungry. I haven't eaten yet today.
All right.
Awesome. Edward, thanks so much for hanging out. And man, so many great stories, bud. Really appreciate it.
I feel a lot better. I love doing these things.
You look better.
Great.
I think we're both a little like rough to begin with, but hey,
yeah,
we brought each other rays of sunshine, and that's the important part.
We did. I want to apologize to the audience for that gross story at the beginning. I thought it was kind of funny.
Hey, it was a through line that made sense all the way up until the end.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Thanks,
awesome.
everybody.
Everybody, go check out Edward Sturm and get his tips and tricks. Follow him on TikTok because we all need some tips and tricks in our life. And also, hey man, if you're not hungry for pierogies yet, there's something wrong with you. P.S. Go watch my TV show. Cheers.